Hey, it's Drybear. We're getting whiplash at this point because Nexon is still putting out updates and breaking news for the First Descendant. And I also plan to put this video out sooner because they had an update just a couple hours ago, but they also had a Gamescom slot for the Xbox Day 3 broadcast. So I was waiting to see if there was going to be anything new for this. It didn't seem like there was going to be since they kind of already launched everything prior to this update, and all they did was replay the same trailer that we've seen for Season 1. So there's nothing new from Gamescom, even though they had a broadcast slot for that. They just wanted to remind people about Season 1. So what is happening? What did they change about the First Descendant and its Season 1 schedule? Well, they have talked a little bit about what the reaction was to Season 1, and I think there's a whole wide gambit of reactions related to Season 1. So they had an unfortunate series of events that has been going on over the last week. If you have been living under a rock, last week we saw a 15-second Season 1 teaser go out that showed a lot of the content going into Season 1. I think that was their first mistake when it goes into just broadcasting and keeping players updated, because in that 15-second trailer was Haley, the new Descendant. It teased Ultimate Freyna, the new Ultimate. It also showed off the dungeons, all the new invasion mechanics, but it didn't give any information. And so it kind of gave the impression that all of that was coming with the launch of Season 1, which we knew was going to be at the end of this month, next week on August 29th. Then the full, minute, like 2-minute trailer that showed all of that content was also leaked. I think there was a social media manager that accidentally put it live on the Korean YouTube channel for the First Descendant. We all saw it. Once it's out in the world, you can't take it back. Everyone saw the full list. It saw all of Haley's abilities. It saw, Ultimate Freyna, everything in there. We're like, confirmed Ultimate Freyna, and everyone started getting excited about that. Then a couple days ago, yesterday, they ended up putting out their schedule for Season 1, which at first was this, and this was always the case. If you look back on the roadmap, there was always going to be 3 patches for each season, which was this right here. So we knew that there was going to be 3 updates for each of the seasons. This is the roadmap they gave us like a month and a half ago, showing what their plans were for the update. We knew that Luna was coming, and then we knew that Season 1 was going to start in late August, which it is, and there was going to be 3 updates inside of that. And I think part of this is still kind of confusing, right? Because they said that this is going to be season progression, field completion, new Descendant story, new Colossus, new dungeon, new weapon, new skin, new Ultimate Descendant. So they didn't really specify, at least in this roadmap, when those were coming. Like, was all of this dropping with Update 1? Was it going to be a little bit in Update 1, Update 2, Update 3, that sort of thing? So they probably kind of set expectations here of being a little confused as to what was going to be the content schedule. Then when they finally released the schedule, everyone realized that everything that we had seen in the trailer was meant for the entirety of the season. So it was going to be August 29th, next week, new Haley, Invasion Dungeon, Inversion Reinforcement, and the new Battle Pass. Then a month later, September 26th, new Colossus Battle, Frostwatcher, the new Ultimate Weapon, and Ultimate Skins and cosmetics for the characters. Then October 30th, a month later, Ultimate Freyna, the Freyna chapter story with all the cutscenes we've seen, Ultimate Freyna mods, Haley mods, Ultimate mods, new hard mode difficulty on dungeons, and the new trader that's going to help with a lot of the excess that you've been looting. Jump forward to today, the latest news. They are glad that everyone's enjoying the game, for sure. Recently, I've noticed that you are concerned about our current update schedule for Season 1. So there has been a lot of backlash on that schedule we just talked about, which, by the way, isn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. We can take off our dark. I like to make it so that we don't flashbang viewers, but my YouTube is already dark. So I actually was worried that this was going to be like a huge backlash. And while the vocal minority overall was pretty upset about it, it seems that the majority of people are either neutral or very excited about Season 1. There's just kind of a bummer on some people, like not having the trader or the vendor that allows you to use duplicates sooner, and then also not getting Ultimate Freyna as soon as people expected based on the trailers that we saw. But for the most part, it seems like most people are still pretty happy with Season 1. So they've decided to combine Update 2 and Update 3 into one update, and then have like meet in the middle on their launch date. So previously we had talked about for Update 2 and 3 was going to be this schedule that we're seeing down here that is going to be like, 1 month apart for each of them, right? So August 29th, September 26th, and October 30th. What they're doing is they're taking these 2 patches and combining them together into a single patch, and then launching that patch on October 10th, which means that instead of having to wait for October 30th, that October 30th patch is being moved up 2 weeks, and then the September 26th patch is moving back 2 weeks to meet in the middle. It does mean on the downside that the ultimate weapon Frostwatcher is going to be 2 weeks delayed. The the Deathstalker Colossus Void Intercept is going to be delayed. And of course, the new cosmetics that we don't even know exist are going to be delayed. But it does mean that Ultimate Freyna, the mods, the new hard mode difficulty are going to be moved up 2 weeks. They're going to be closer together on October 10th. And it also means that the Trader is going to be here on October 10th. And this is probably the biggest, most poignant point when it comes to the patch schedule here. I actually believe that if they had moved this vendor to the August 29th update, which it may not be ready by then, but if they had moved it up to the August 29th update, I think it would have been a lot better for the game. The fact that we're just, I think this is just a core issue that this vendor is solving that really needs to be solved sooner rather than later. Because right now, most people are farming for their ultimates, getting their weapons, getting their duplicates and blueprints, and they're getting stockpiles of these wasted Descendant materials that do nothing. So there's kind of like a double whammy. One, you're getting an item that doesn't have any value, right? So if you've already crafted Ultimate Viessa and you get Ultimate Viessa Enhanced Cell Blueprint or something related to her character, any other character that you own, the first problem is that you're getting an item that has no inherent value. It is useless. It is a waste of space. You can't do anything with it unless you were to delete the character and craft it again for some weird reason. The second problem is the double whammy that hurts the most is that it's an opportunity cost lost, right? So if you were trying to get, say, like an Afterglow blueprint or something for a weapon, or you're trying to get like a crystallization catalyst blueprint or an activator blueprint, instead of that item, you're paying the opportunity cost of losing the drop for something that could be good to get something that's completely useless. So those two things combined make the drop rates for these really, really rough. So I think the vendor needs to come sooner rather than later. And in my perspective, I think this is a good change for the game. That vendor needs to come as soon as possible, so at least we can have some kind of value for everything that we're farming and everything that we're doing right now. But I've seen kind of both sides in my chat of people upset that update 2 is being moved back, right? Because that means that the you're not going to have the new Colossus battle for another 2 weeks. But also people seeing upset or like kind of happy and stoked that they're getting Ultimate Freyna sooner and they're getting the vendor sooner and the hard mode dungeons sooner. And it also might be kind of cool, like maybe we will be able to use the season mechanics on the hard mode dungeons, which means that as long as season 1 is still lasting, that is there. But at least they're continuing their habit of trying to respond to feedback and make sure that the game is there. But it also kind of reveals a little bit that they were kind of trying to create a structure. They weren't releasing content as soon as it was ready. They were creating a structure for their content release and spacing things out to try and make the game fit for what they thought it would be. And part of this is a learning process. If you played Warframe didn't have it right when they first launched as far as the loot availability, how frequent updates were coming and all of that. No game ever does. So it's part of the learning process to figure out what makes the most sense and also what people want. And hopefully they keep responding properly. I hope they don't overly respond to negativity, because you can often end up ruining a game if you listen to the vocal minority and the QQers and the memes too much, because you can end up just making the game worse. Because sometimes people are just venting frustrations. They're not actually trying to make the game better, that kind of thing. But I think it is an interesting change for the game itself. Well, let me know what you think. Do you think that Update 2 being moved back and Update 3 being moved up is good for the game, right? Are you willing to wait longer on the new cosmetics and the new Colossus battle in favor of getting the vendor and Ultimate Freyna sooner and all of those modules sooner? We also don't know, based on the schedule, what those modules are. It says new Ultimate modules, which might mean that we're getting new yellow modules for Descendant and Weapon. It could mean that it's new, Transcendent mods for Ultimate, though probably not based on the phrasing. We're still kind of wondering, based on translations, what's happening and what's not. But at the very least, we are getting Haley next week in 6 days. We're getting Haley Scott, a brand new Descendant. We are getting the new invasion mechanic, new special dungeons, a new progression mechanic to make your build stronger. All of that is coming next week and is going to be a really cool addition to the game. But let me know what you think about this schedule change down below. If you found value in today's video, leave a like down below, leave a comment for the algorithm to help this video get seen by more people. And don't forget to check out my other channels for other content and other stuff and other things.